Oh, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition. Merely Bo. And look who's back, the Great Z. Refreshed and ready.
Yeah. Am I even on? Is this thing
Are you on? Is this thing
You're on.
I'll write it. We'll do it live.
All right.
What does it mean to play us out?
I don't know about refreshed. I don't know
Well-
that there's any way to be refreshed coming off of a red eye that you landed on this morning. But I am back.
It was in the brochure, to be fair.
That it was. That's
That
it.
it was a red eye, and then that's the way
Of
that it
course.
was going to go. Yeah, it was in the brochure.
But there's no, and I think we prepped for this very well. We had a lovely last day in LA. Took
Yeah.
full advantage of the fact that we had a red eye. Spent a lot of time up and down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Oh, there you go. Well, how far did you get? Did you go like Orange County way, or did you go
no,
Malibu?
We went Malibu.
There you go.
So we went and had some drinks at a bar over, literally sitting on the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, that's a win.
Then we went up to Neptune's Net. Are you familiar with Neptune's Net from Fast and the Furious?
I'm not. I've
That's
never
where-
seen any of those
Oh,
movies.
wow. What?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you love it. The original especially is so good.
Yeah, no, I have not.
So that's one of the spots they go before Dom goes before they go do some racing. So we went up there, and then we ended up down at Santa Monica Pier, walked along the
There you
pier,
go.
had a nice dinner, and then went to the airport. And we did the red eye well. I slept, I would say, the majority of the flight. But as you know, these winds are so crazy. We got it in an hour early.
It's like the one time you don't want to be in an hour early. That's
Well,
on the
I'm
red
fine.
eye.
Get me off the plane. Get me
But
out.
if you're sleeping,
I don't sleep that well. Like,
oh, okay.
you sleep, and you're happy. You look, and you're like, oh, man, it's been 90 minutes. Okay, sweet.
That's a win.
But it's
I've
not
accomplished
like,
something.
It's not
Yeah,
like
it's
you're
not-
sitting down and
no,
just
no, it's not that. You're not refreshed.
No. But then we got in this morning, no problem, and feeling good. Great weekend. Can't thank the Miz enough for the hospitality, and it was just
Is he going to get a cut of that $9 billion
it was incredible. I mean, he should,
that Vince?
especially after.
Did you see that look on Vince?
Believe me, there was much discussion of the look of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He looks like a Bond villain.
Well, for sure. I mean, the only guy I've ever seen try to rock that mustache is that director from Baltimore, John Waters. He's the only guy I've seen try to pull that off. I don't understand how you could do that and then be like, this is what we're going with. I'm going with this.
To me, it's like he's saying I'm a villain, and I'm just gonna embrace that. I mean,
Yeah,
he looks.
I think that feels like that's where we're going to be, and I think he'll probably be a character in it, and he'll love playing it up.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't know that he'll be. I have no idea what's going on, but there was much discussion amongst the group about that particular look that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is cultivating at the moment. Much.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
Great
It's,
discussion.
I think it's something else. I mean, it's funny, like that show Succession, a lot of people think it's about the Murdochs. I think it's probably pulled from everybody, some to Red
There's
Murdochs.
some McMahon in there.
McMahon for sure. I mean,
For sure.
there's a lot of that in there of those type of families that pull from that.
Did you
so.
catch any of WrestleMania? Were you dialed in? No, you did not. So Thursday I got in. I was able to go out to Mike's house and we played golf on the course. He lives on a hole. I birdied the hole that he lives on, which made me very pleased.
That's good. So he was happy about that.
He was pleased with that. Beautiful course, beautiful home. Got to hang with his kids. So it was great. And then Friday, Miss Kay came in and we had a great night in LA. Now, we somehow, I guess, went and it was like our mini Vegas. We were up till we were burning
Too
the
late.
midnight oil. Oh, every day.
Too late. Yeah.
One day knocked sweet Miss Kay right on out. She was Friday night. Took her out for Saturday. She was toast.
Yeah.
But we went. Mania was great. The first night was significantly better than the second night. The main event of the first night was a tag team match, which was just probably the greatest tag team match in WrestleMania history. The crowd reaction was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
So it was cool, and it's fun. We get to stay at the hotel that they're all staying at, so you get to see everybody and talk. It was a great trip. And then so Mike got the first night beaten up by Pat McAfee and George Kittle. That was the first night. And he's doing everything with Snoop. He's hanging with Mr. Dog.
Yeah, with Mr. Dog.
Yeah.
Great.
The second night, he was the big surprise for him, unfortunately, to get beat up by was going to be Shane McMahon.
Okay.
Here comes the money plays. He comes out, and people were shocked to see Shane because he had a falling out with his dad and the company. And
Sure.
so it's first time back. So he comes out, shoots Mike off the ropes. Mike goes, he does a leapfrog over him. When he lands, Shane tears his left quad.
Legitimately.
Legit. So Mike shoots off the ropes to come back and almost trips over him. And now it's this was supposed to be
Something
Shane's supposed
else.
to do 5 minutes worth of stuff and hit all of his big, spots. And now that's gone in an instant, live in front of 76,000 people. So they had to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So they had to improv it. So Mike, so now Mr. Dog's there.
Sure.
Mike's there.
Yeah.
Shane's on the ground with medical people trying to, like, roll him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Mike's kind of talking trash because what else could you do? Like, yeah, you like as if he did that, and they're trying to figure out. So they get Snoop comes. And he tells him, he's like, stick it to me, brother. So he throws him. He's like, another one. He goes, but really, give it to me this time. Boom. Snoop hits him and then gives a people's elbow.
Nice.
And covers him. And so Snoop wins an impromptu match, which could have gone like
1,000 ways bad.
Yeah. And so Snoop handled like pro, Mike handled like pro.
It's amazing. Good job out of Snoop.
Yeah. Snoop was
like being dialed in to that's what needed to be done then.
Yeah.
God bless him for that. Who's the champion of this now?
Roman still.
That's the guy. Was it the expectation that it was going to go another way?
Yeah. So the main event of night 2 was Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes, and this was like going to be the culmination of his story back a full year, coming after him, won the Royal Rumble, the whole thing. Everybody wanted to see Cody win, and Roman still won, and the place was so flat. Roman's great. Everybody respects Roman, but like he's the first person who's ever now main evented 3 straight WrestleManias in a row for the title. It's never happened before. So he's on this incredible run. People just thought it was going to be Cody. I think it's going to be a little delayed gratification. I think he'll eventually do it. But the way that night 1 ended with the Feel Good, the tag team winning, beating the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, and everybody in the place, it was like, it gives me goosebumps. Everybody in the place was up for the final 1, 2, 3. Like you just knew it was finally the finish. And it was such a feel good thing. And then the next night, at the end of the day, it's a business. Send people home happy.
That's the idea. It's an entertainment. The E's for entertainment.
At this Mania, there are plenty of pay-per-view shows send them home unhappy, so they want to see the happiness. But this is supposed to be the Mania. So I don't know about that decision. But
I saw the ratings for yesterday's Raw would reflect that there was tepid, at least at the very best. Tepid.
Oh, they weren't good.
0.5.
Then people were pissed.
Yeah. So I just saw that this morning because everything was about ratings. Over the last few days. So the women's basketball rating
9.9.
did 9.9 million people watched that.
Is it like the most ever?
I mean, just for context, it beat 12 NFL games this year.
That's wild.
It did. It beat 12 NFL games.
Did you watch it?
I did. For context, it beat every NHL Stanley Cup game since 1973. It beat games 1, 2, 3, and 5 of the 2021 NBA Finals. It beat the 2023 Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Kansas State, the 2023 Orange Bowl from Tennessee and Clemson.
Wow.
Obviously, every MLS game on record. So the women's game did 10 million viewers.
That's insane.
It did more viewers than Ohio State, Penn State. Now, Ohio State is the gold standards for ratings in college football. It did more than that. It's a stunning. It was up 100%. Year to year, they're around 5 million, which is nothing to sniff at.
What are they attributing it to?
It's 2 things. In this country, we like to see greatness. So this probably speaks to some of the things that's going on with even in the wrestling world. We like the idea of every sport we watch is the best. It's played at the highest level. It's why MLS is a bit of a struggle because we know that it's not the best league in the world. We know that it's not, and so it's down the list, right? It doesn't have the same attention. So this women's Final Four had an undefeated defending national champion in South Carolina. It had the team that ended up winning at LSU was 33-2 coming in, and it had Caitlin Clark,
who was
for Iowa,
ridiculous,
who is the female Steph Curry, who can shoot from anywhere. They got the buzz of her coming out of the regional final where she had a 40-point triple-double.
I know.
And then she got South Carolina on Friday with another 40 points. And so they had all of this building. And it was a Sunday afternoon, and there was nothing else on. Yeah. So what are you competing against? Live Golf? No one's watching that. No one's watching it. Masters is this week, so it was it's on an island, and we were watching greatness. And so while the game was terribly officiated, and all of those things are very, very real, it had all of that build up to it. And even the men's
way bigger hype than the men's final.
It did, but to be fair, the men's semifinal between FAU and San Diego State was 11.9 million, and the final for last night, I'm guessing, will be around 15, something like that.
But if you were to say to somebody that the men's final would not double the rating of the women's final, they would have been like, no way.
Well, it always has. This would have
been
this would have been the total outlier. Right. I'm going to tell you something else. I enjoyed the women's final more. So there's one other part of it. The women's final, the final score is 102 to 85.
Yep.
The women's games are played in the 80s. They're more skilled because the men, it's a lot of 18-year-olds that you're hoping for potential in terms of the blue blood programs. You're hoping for potential. They're freshmen. They're one-and-dones. Whereas these are teams that have been together that play in a very fluid manner.
It's
Beyond
basketball.
that, it's NBA. A lot of it is like pro rules. They go 4 quarters, not 2 halves. They're not shooting free throws because they reset with every quarter. They reset the bonus, so you're not shooting 12 minutes of free throws.
Yeah.
Timeout, you go to half court. Like all of those things they've adjusted to and adapted. The men's game hasn't. So it's been something else.
There was a little bit that was on in the background, the UConn San Diego State. It never really was. It never felt like it was really ever in doubt.
Do you remember what you said to me when we were watching Marquette and Butler over in Indy? You said this is the number 5 team in the country.
It's not.
This doesn't feel like it.
Doesn't bode well. Yeah.
No, but what you outlined there, which was factual, it didn't, is what's happened to the men's game versus what's happened to the women's. So the other part of it is the women's game. You have to be 22 years of age by the time the WNBA draft comes up in order to be eligible. So you have to turn 22. The NBA allows for one and done.
Yeah.
So you're drafting potential.
Of course.
The WNBA, like Caitlin Clark has to play next year at Iowa. She's not draft eligible, even though she's a junior. She has to play another year. And so they will get her again next year in the middle of all of this.
You get teams.
You get teams.
You get that grow together and build together and get better together.
Yeah. And then you factor into that NIL and all that stuff, and you can go poach a kid here and there. So that's how it happened. But
so
no, I enjoyed
then.
it way more than the men's final. Final Four. Yeah.
Well, the Final Four was everybody was a team of consequence. Well, at least 3 of them were.
Yeah. Well, 4 of them because the other one was Virginia Tech, and they were a 1.
Yeah, so they were all
legit. Yeah.
That's the difference right there. Is it because of the ability to become a team and a real program where you are together and your good players are together for 3, if not 4 years, that the good teams are going to be a lot better than the other teams. Like a 1 seed is going to be better than a 9 seed. Whereas I feel like in the men's game,
doesn't matter.
No. It doesn't. They even beat a 16.
No, the most talented teams in the men's game are talented, but really underdeveloped because it's mostly 18-year-olds who are first-round picks who are not really, in many instances, good basketball players.
Right. Yep. And they're not great basketball teams.
No, and they don't know how to play. So I did watch the game last night. Nance was great. Great final send-off. One shining moment always hits. The thing's undefeated.
He was
always
the
works.
best.
He was the best. Yeah,
is the best.
Yeah, and remains. And I think he was probably. He sounded emotional to me very much at the end.
So I watched a clip of him watching One Shining Moment, and yes, he seemed very emotional. Yeah. And then he's gonna lick his wounds by going to Augusta.
That's a good job. That's a good job out of him.
Yeah,
it's a good job out of him. Yeah, that's.
Oh, I'm not.
I remember talking to him like 10 years ago at the Memorial because CBS has the Memorial tournament. And I was talking to him at Memorial, and we did like a little piece, and he was so gracious and so kind, so nice.
The best.
And I outlined like, do you ever sit back when you're done with Masters Week and go, holy hell? And it was the year that one of those 4 years where he did Super Bowl, Final Four, Masters. And you look back and go, man, I was the voice of sports in this country for 3 months.
Yeah.
I called the most important things for 3 months straight. Yeah. And it was my voice you heard. It's remarkable. And he gave such a humble, great answer to it, but it was good.
Speaking of voices and people you love, you know who took in WrestleMania this weekend?
Al Michaels.
He sure did. He sure did.
My guy.
Yeah, they showed him he was like one of the few people that got a big call out. And they're like, not that he's not of that ilk, but there are a lot of big celebrities there.
Yeah, he's
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels is one of those guys where he's one of those guys that could get a tea time with Larry David and Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Like that type of guy. That would be the air that he would kind of operate in.
I was hoping as I was going through L.A. with my golf clubs that somehow I'd just bump into Larry.
LD,
and he'd be like, let's go tee it up. Sure.
Where's he at? Is he at – he's not at LACC. He's at –
I don't know. He's not at Riviera. Is he in a Bel Air?
I think he's at Riviera.
Is he at Riviera?
He's at Riviera.
Right,
I think he's at Riviera because Bel Air is that's Hogan. That's Hogan's Bridge is there, right? At Bel Air. I want to say I said that relatively confidently.
I like it.
I'm pretty sure he's at Riviera. He's not at Sherwood. I'm pretty sure he's at Riviera.
Yeah.
I feel strongly about Riviera. Yeah. And I think like even during the pandemic, like he took care of all the caddies.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Rivy?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, I don't know if they shoot I think they even shoot the show at Rivie. Like when they show golf scenes, I think they shoot that at Riviera.
Yeah, so I'm looking. What do they use in? Yeah, it feels like it.
I think I've read before that they do. So,
Larry,
LD,
gosh,
would have been something.
So great. Oh, this is from Golf Magazine. From the Black Swan to the Weatherman, ranking the 11 best golf moments in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Oh my God, I can't wait to read this article. I was gonna see if it said anything right there. He
killed Kyoko.
Oh God, Black Swan. Black Swan's an all-time episode.
It's a Mount Rushmore.
I think you're right. I think you're exactly right.
It's got everything you want.
Yeah.
It's got the Funk Man. It's got all of it. It's got ordering crispy onions.
It's got intrigue.
Yeah, his dad, Nat's involved. His pops is involved.
An incredible stare down.
Yeah, it's got everything you want.
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets on that front. This is not as good as it gets. This was Josina Anderson originally this morning, and then we confirmed it later on that wide receiver Mike Woods has suffered a ruptured Achilles. It will require surgery. He'll miss the entire 2023 season. He was working out with Deshaun down in Texas. He was a guy who flashed in camp last year.
He did. I think that, it's obviously very unfortunate. I think that for Mike Woods, going into it with what we've done at that position, he was going to be in a real battle to make this roster.
Yeah.
We've got 14 receivers now, 13 on the roster. I think there's a chance we draft one. But if you kind of just look at that room, for sure, barring injury, Amari, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore, and David Bell are going to be on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
If Jakeem Grant can still help you in the return game, he's going to be on the roster. So, and then Marquise Goodwin, right? Marquise Goodwin's probably going to be on this roster.
Yeah.
So that's 6.
Mm-hmm.
There are only going to be 6.
That's it.
So if Jakeem Grant can't do it as a returner, maybe that 6th spot, is that a returner who gets a look there? Is that, I don't know. So I think it would have been a tough thing. Obviously, it's a tough blow for him. Look at him just coming through
Swag.
Here today.
What's he got today?
There,
so just a different color.
Just a different
Those
color.
are the ones I have, right?
You had the exact same.
The dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had the orange ones on yesterday. So it's an Air Max mood for him.
Yeah. Just makes it, well, at least it's Wednesdays when he starts to get into usually like
it gets
Travis
a lot
Scott
going on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You got a date Wednesday, baby. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, you hate it
it's
for the
unfortunate,
kid.
yes.
But it was always when we did the where are we now with the depth chart thing, it was like, man, how many of these we
out put
of
him
spots.
in he was in the list of people that'd be competing for the 6th wide receiver spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and Anthony Schwartz would be in that list as well. So definitely a bummer for him. You hope that he can overcome it. But he is a guy that flashed. He's a long strider. It's going to be this. It's a tough roster. It's a tough roster to make. So hopefully a speedy recovery for him.
More from Josina today. The Browns hosting wide receiver Tank Dell, who played it collegiately at Houston, and Jalen. I see no scenario how Jalen Hyatt would be available. No chance. CBS NFL draft analyst Chris Trapasso will join us later this week. And his comp for Tank Dell was Deontay Johnson.
I'm a big Deontay Johnson guy, and that means that he can really, really run routes. So my guess is that feels more like a second-round guy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how that all ends up playing out. But clearly the Browns are still looking at that position and want to
for sure
weapons.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that 2 weeks ago. Last time you and I did a show together was that exactly that, like more.
Yeah, and by the way, if they were to draft a receiver, let's call it in the 3rd round, that is going to make it even more difficult to make this roster at that position.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's ultra competitive.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah, which is what you want. It needed to be there. This from Rappaport. We hosted defensive tackle Al Woods, former Seahawks DT Al Woods, on a free agent visit. 14-year vet, 48th among qualifying defensive tackles in pro football.
Big veteran, knows how to play the game. Very good against the run.
Yeah.
Decent pressure rate, kind of average, but he converts his pressures into sacks at a higher rate than normal, which is probably not necessarily sustainable things, but he would just be a veteran piece in there. And if you were to sign an Al Woods, you'd have Al Woods, Dalvin Tomlinson, Perry on, and then I think a huge competition to be the 4th defensive tackle.
Did you see the Tyreek Hill comments about us?
I saw that he wanted to come here.
So he's in have you seen the video, Gibby? Have you seen this?
It's like an autograph signing.
It's an autograph signing. A guy's in a Deshaun jersey.
Yep.
Hands him a thing, and he says, y'all should have paid me. I would have come to Cleveland or something like that.
Yep.
So he was traded. He wasn't a free agent.
Also true.
He was traded after Deshaun was acquired.
Yes.
So we would not have had the assets at all to be able to acquire him.
Correct.
In any way, shape, or form. But it did make me think, like, I wonder if there was talk. I'm sure there was. Like,
there had to be.
Because he's not making that up out of the clear blue sky.
No, he could have wanted, and that's the thing when you get a quarterback like Deshaun, players want to play here. Tyreek Hill said, I want to go from Mahomes to Deshaun Watson. But we didn't have the trade capital to make that happen. Now, could there have been a player that they would have coveted? I'm sure that there probably could have been something, but in the overall calculus, given that we had just unloaded so much capital for Deshaun Watson, that we did not have necessarily capital again to then get Tyreek Hill. In fact, you were able to get Amari for a fifth, and then now you've got Elijah Moore this year, and so that probably is more judicious in the way of going about it. But it was interesting, and it goes back to, again, there wasn't a single receiver that was desperate to come to Cleveland prior to us getting Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So that just shows you how he's regarded around the league in terms of what
and even
players believe he can be.
As high as the stock was on Baker coming out of the rookie year, it took convincing for Odell. Like, I don't know that was something he was thrilled about initially, and worked himself into it. But that was, to your point, I think that buttresses it. By the way, have you seen Glenn Cook today? Proud University of Miami graduate Glenn Cook.
Oh yeah,
today?
Is he in a UConn?
He's in a UConn
hoodie
because they got him in the Final Four. I was like, I saw Huskies from the distance. I'm like, what is this? Like, first, it's odd, even though UConn won their 5th national championship. By the way, one more than Kansas.
5 in the last how long?
Since '99.
5 in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So 3 different coaches.
They are the dynasty then of that period.
To me, the doppelganger for them is Miami football, Hurricanes, in that they have this window of dominance, but intermixed is wild stretches of irrelevancy. Like they had a 4-year stretch where they weren't even 500. So like they have that in there too. They have 3 different coaches, much like Miami. They have a bunch of different coaches have done it there. And it also feels like one administrative mistake and they would be off a cliff. So like they were in the American Conference. They weren't in the Big East for a few years. And their current administration was like, we've got to, look, forget about football. What matters here is basketball, and we have got to protect our basketball programs. We cannot be playing in the American Conference. So they got them back in the Big East in hoops, and it really salvaged the program.
So they won. So you said 99. So they've won with what? Danielle Marshall?
No.
That was before that.
Emeka Okafor, Rip Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin, Kemba Walker. Kemba was incredible.
I love Kemba.
They won with, oh my gosh, what was the name of the guy that LeBron liked? Shabazz Napier, and then the Heat took him, and then they won with this group. But they've won with Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, and now Dan Hurley. Kevin Ollie won that national title.
Ollie.
They were a 7 seed that year when Napier took them to the title, and they won it. So yeah, I mean it's an odd thing because they have as many national championships as Duke, and yet no one would confuse Duke with Connecticut from a program standpoint. No one would confuse Kansas with Connecticut from a program standpoint. But they have this 25-year run of they've won 5.
One every 5 years. Stunning.
Crazy. I mean, Kentucky's won 1 in that period. Kentucky. 1. They won 5.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of college basketball, we can close this out with this. Jim Nantz, we mentioned the final call. We have that for you. So let's have a listen to Nantz on his final call of college basketball. Here's a listen, courtesy of CBS.
One thing I learned through all of this is everybody has a dream and everybody has a story to tell. Just try to find that story. Be kind.
You told it better than most, let me tell you.
Can I tell you one other thing? I mean this, not to try to play off Hello Friends, but to you, everybody in the college game, on CBS Family, my family, all the viewers, thank you for being my friend.
Yeah, he was. Dusty at the end.
CBS, can you please turn the music down? Like, you know the moment's happening.
I think that he went off script.
No doubt. That was from his heart.
Because when they start playing that music,
they're
tossing a break. I think that they didn't think that he was going to say that then because he has to do the trophy presentation, which comes later. So I don't think that the director thought that we were going there. and then Nance just went there because I think in Nance's mind he probably thought, this is my last game broadcast.
The
game
this is
over.
it. And I don't want to do it on the stage where
I'm not doing it on the stage, and I don't
Right.
want it to come. I don't want Greg tossing to me after we do that with Grant and them. Like, I'm doing it now.
Yep,
This is the biggest audience. I'm doing it right now.
Yep.
It's at the end of the game, and I think it was probably not what was planned. The director producer was hit the music, toss to break. We'll do the trophy presentation next. Yeah,
for sure.
So I think that's probably how that happened. But
I'm
yeah,
with
you got to pot it down. I'm fine with it playing underneath because it's so synonymous with him.
Correct.
Pot it down.
But it's got to be. It was hot. Came in really hot.
Just a little this. Move that down.
Down
Slide
just
that
a little
down.
bit. There is something about it though. I mean, if you think about it, CBS going from the Final Four to the Masters, nothing has really changed in the broadcast approach to either in any of our lifetimes. We're all men. We're 40. It's the same music. It ends with one shining moment. It's the same voices. Nance has been on it our whole lives. Not at the games since 91, but he was on the halftime pregame going into the mid-'80s. As far as any of us can remember, he's been there. Same thing with the Masters. Nance. Like, old Vern's going to come back.
Vern's coming back this week.
Yeah.
So Nance said this. He wanted this to be it.
Yeah, I think it's family. I mean, he's got young kids
no
now,
doubt.
and you think about it from a travel standpoint.
The interview that I saw yesterday, I mean, he's got 2 young kids.
Yeah.
And he's just like, the NFL's almost 6 months now, a year.
Yep.
Well,
so
and guys, just from the standpoint, as we all know, living at Pebble Beach, it's a hard place to get to.
Yeah.
Monterey Peninsula is tough, even with private aviation, which obviously he has, but still, it's a long ways from Houston to the Monterey Peninsula. Long ways. And if you're going
3.5, 4.
Oh gosh, you think, and then he's doing Augusta.
Yeah.
You think about he's going.
Georgia's a full.
Big Ten championship is in Indy.
Yep.
So he does the Big Ten tournament, and then 3 weeks of the NCAA, and then Augusta. He's basically on the road for, even if he's home for a day here or there, he's basically on the road for 5 weeks straight.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And he don't need to do it. He's
Gymnast. So and Iron Eagles taking over.
Yeah.
The Birdman.
Yeah.
Like it.
Now, I don't know if they'll revamp. Gibby and I were talking about that yesterday. Do they do something with Hill and Raftery? Or do they
it
just
would
put
make a
in?
lot of sense to
If they want to do it, now would be the time.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know who that would be.
To put Hill with him.
Grant Hill. I love Grant Hill. I'm a Dookie. I get it. Not impressive as an announcer.
Well,
Doesn't bring
Raftery
a
is
lot
so
to the
great
Yeah.
that it's.
But you almost don't need a third.
You don't need a third, really. But I think they're trying to protect against. I mean, Raf's up there.
Correct.
You know, he's up there a little bit. So, all right, lots to get to on the program today. We'll continue our tour of around the league with various teams. In fact, today we'll be taking a look at the Arizona Cardinals. Howard Balzer will join us on that front. We've got a little better or worse. AP will be joining us here in studio for that. We're off and running, back together on a Tuesday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury? Call the injury lawyers at 100 Elk, Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is Masters Week.
Yeah.
Champions dinner tonight.
What could go wrong there?
I think it'll be respectful, but I was reading this fun. I grabbed, I think Golf Digest or Golf Magazine, one of the two. I don't even know if they're the same now. It used to be back in the day. It used to be
There's
Masters
one,
Kings
yeah.
of great consequence, but
Yeah.
I read the whole Masters preview, and they were talking about the dinner, and they expect it to be civil, but they're seeing people in a very smart way, supposedly.
Well, who's like the most outward critic of Liv who will be there? Tiger?
Rory?
Because Rory's not going. He's not a winner.
He never won. No, he
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
He's never
He hasn't
won
won
it,
at
so
Augusta.
He can't go there. I mean, you're going to have to deal with Patrick Reed,
Yeah.
who sucks.
Phil.
But I think Phil will be – I think he can play.
Phil's a little bit of a heel.
He is, but I think he forever he was a babyface.
Long
Forever.
time.
Yeah. So I think he could revert back pretty quickly, and I don't think he'll do anything to – I think he's smart enough to not do anything to ever risk Augusta saying don't come back.
No.
I heard somebody this morning say, like Reed, Koepka, like all those guys are going to be invited back forever because they're former champions. They can play it forever. Augusta can do whatever the hell they want. They can change that tomorrow if they want to. They could go tomorrow. Like, let's say this dinner went bad and there was a bunch of stuff that came out of it.
Yep.
Augusta could throw people out of the tournament tonight.
Yep.
See on down the road.
Yep.
You're
we
not
have a
welcome.
waiting list.
They do whatever they want, man. They do whatever they want. So I as I've seen like the Greg Norman comments about all 18 of us are going to rush to the green if one of our guys wins. No, don't do that if you want to be invited back. I saw
Greg not invited, by the way, to the Masters.
No, you saw the like the Live guys are wearing like those ridiculous team patches, Live team patches. They're making them wear.
Why
that's
are they
just
doing
awful.
that?
It's done. That's gone nowhere.
No.
Nothing. So they're doing that. They've got
All the pairings are out, and everybody. It's all politically correct, and it's
all
not
separate. Yeah.
no one. It's no one that could be. There's no drama for the first 2 days at least.
Yeah.
I got by somebody on Instagram because it was also 6:30 in
Shocking
the morning,
that
and I
you
was
got
not.
on social media.
Right away. Half hour back.
Everybody's talking about it. Everybody. All five.
By the way, speaking of social media, did you see that the bird has been replaced by the dog on Twitter?
What?
Yeah, the dog is now the logo.
Not only, by the way, social media crew comes in here yesterday, our
Yeah.
digital people, and they're like, we are here to officially verify Cleveland Browns Daily. And I was like, what does that mean in the Twitter world these days? We have a blue check mark now.
I got
there
to
you
keep
go.
mine. Legacy.
Never
I thought
had one.
I thought it was going to be gone.
Yeah.
You've never had one?
No,
That's ridiculous.
it is. Yeah, it's strange. It's odd. Both the stations in Columbus, both CBS and the Fan, neither one of them. I don't know if they didn't pursue them or what, but no one was down there was ever verified. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So so that's good. So they got that done.
Yeah.
But I don't even know. Do you know what does that even mean?
What? Verified?
It either means you are or you've paid for it, but there's no way of determining which is you did.
No. So I thought I thought mine was gonna go away, and then I click on my blue check now, and it says that this account is verified because it's subscribed to Twitter Blue or is a legacy verified account. I did not subscribe to Twitter Blue, so I can deduce from that they have deemed me a legacy.
Legacy verified.
Legacy
there you go.
verified. LV.
By the way, following up on our conversation, Bo, yesterday about Live,
Yeah.
and if you
Way to bring me
try
back,
to
make fun of me,
leave-
and then exclude me in the first conversation that you bring up.
if you try to leave the Live tour,
Yeah.
it wasn't intentional on that time. Trust me, you'll know when I intentionally do
So
it.
Gibby yesterday said that in order for a Live guy to get back to the PGA Tour, they would have to pay 4 times
Their
what
bonus.
their bonus was to come back.
Which sounds like not feasible.
Like
Yes,
400
that
million.
came from Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
And that still all stands?
Reported that Live contracts have a penalty clause that would require players to pay 2, 3, or 4 times their signing bonuses in order to break agreements.
The Live contract.
The Live
not
contract.
the PGA.
No, not the PGA,
Oh,
the Live.
Okay. So the PGA is not saying this is what you're paying us. This is what Live is saying. This is what you're going to have to pay to get out of this. So
Correct.
You're
we
not
own
getting
you,
out
buddy.
of it.
Yeah, we own you. Is
Yep.
is the way that they're going to go. So,
Yeah.
look, it's like we said. I think I said this yesterday. Like, It's the Mad Men line. That's what the money's for. So you're going to play in the CW, wear the team patches, and do all this stuff. That's
the team
deal.
names are absurd too.
They are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Champions dinner. What are you serving?
I'd probably do a classic. Start with
What's the app?
A little, because it's a Champions dinner and I can not limit myself. So
you can be as
I don't
indulgent
have,
as you want to be.
Yeah, I don't have to do a shrimp cocktail. I'd probably do a nice lobster tail cocktail.
I like it.
Start with that. Great
Warm
Caesar.
or cold?
Cold.
Yep.
Tableside Caesar. Maybe throw some crab legs with the entree on the table for everybody, just because why wouldn't you want to have them there?
Everybody would want them.
And then I'm going to have a nice prime rib, medium rare.
Medium rare.
Many slices as you want. Maybe some truffled mashed potatoes or some rosemary frites would be nice. And then
I like it.
And then my little steakhouse broccoli that I like to do. And then my dessert would for sure be tableside bananas Foster.
Such an elite dessert. Really is.
It's the best.
It's so good when done the appropriate way. I mean, it's just
to watch a man make caramel,
flambe
caramel,
that
however you
stuff
want to
out.
say it, to watch him make it before your very eyes and then know that soon you're going to have a nice banana in that's been kind of torched a little bit is a real treat. Flambéed.
Throw a little ice cream
According
on that, watch
to
it melt through.
the document I'm looking, I was trying to figure out what the dinner menu was tonight because I had seen it somewhere, and I'm just trying to go through it.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. Since I'm going to go with crab legs on the table as well for the surf and turf, we don't need the lobster cocktail. That's too much. I'm going to go with a clean hamachi jalapeno, like Nobu style, as the cold app.
All right.
I like
It
that.
says the dinner is paid for by the outgoing champion.
So Scotty Scheffler's paying for the
Picking
dinner?
the tab up, according to this.
So that's why he's doing sliders? No, he is. He's doing sliders, shrimp. He's doing like some sort of a hot shrimp. He's doing I don't remember what the salad is. It is a Texas ribeye. He is doing that. And then he's got warm cookies and ice cream and milk as the dessert.
So his dinner is the cheeseburger sliders and the firecracker shrimp.
Yeah.
First course, tortilla soup.
Mm-hmm.
Main
No
course,
salad.
Texas ribeye steak or blackened redfish.
Okay.
Dessert,
Redfish is very
warm
good.
chocolate chip cookies skillet.
Yep.
That's going to be good. A skillet cookie. It's going to be just fine.
That's really good. Warm, and then you have put that little the little ice cream on top of that.
Yeah.
Just goes all the way through.
Yeah. I don't know that you need cheeseburger sliders before a ribeye. That's
redundant.
The main course
a lot
will be
of beef.
served with sides of mac and cheese, jalapeno cream corn, fried Brussels sprouts, and seasoned
love
fries.
jalapeno cream cone. Talk to me.
What was the last two?
Seasoned fries.
Seasoned fries and fried Brussels sprouts.
Okay. That's a heavy meal. It's a lot going on there. Especially choosing the soup. A tortilla soup is a heavy soup.
It can be more brothy. It varies, but yes, and generally speaking,
The tortilla soup has avocado, crispy blue tortilla strips, sour cream, cilantro, and lime.
Get rid of that sour cream. You know,
oh
need
yeah,
that in there at
nobody
all.
wants any of that. I think he's trying to take some people out.
Could be.
This feels like a meal where you're trying to take somebody out.
It could be. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
My
surprise me
meal
at
is
all.
for us all to live
Everybody lives.
and enjoy.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
Serve
what
with
you
some
want.
nice wine.
Yeah. That's the way you do it. So it starts. So you'll have championship dinner, and then Thursday we go. Tiger's there. Did you see the pictures from his practice round?
Does he look great?
I have no idea how he played. I'm just looking at the crowd size.
Yeah, immense.
10 deep.
It's a circus at his
Watch
press
a-
conference today.
Watch a 50-year-old.
Because he's the best.
Amazing. Really is. Oh, man. Absolutely is. Getting some people on Twitter saying that Jim Nantz moved to Nashville. I don't know that he moved to Nashville. I think that he bought a house there to help with the NFL scheduling. That's why Herbie moved there, too, is because it was more closer to much of the operations that from a college standpoint. I know he bought a home there.
Yeah.
In Nashville and uses that sometimes during the NFL season, but he lives at Pebble Beach. That's where the house is. Living at Pebble Beach.
I mean, it's in.
Yeah.
It's literally in the brochure.
Yeah. Pretty good. All right. Coming up, we will go around the league. Some of the interesting stuff coming out of New England with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones. We'll get to that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, time to go around the league, and this is from
Paulus, you can't just come
Can't
back
do
and
that,
go,
Paulus.
Hey, Paulus, by the
What?
way, you're up, and we got a spot to do.
I don't even have it.
So we sent it over.
Not to
I get
me.
Gibbs. I get yes. Jordan sent it over. Jordan
you
sent
sure?
it over. I am positive.
I'm
I was
checking the
tagged in
email
right
right
Paulus
now.
just drops it and goes, you're up.
It was sent over about a half hour ago, and I just wanted to make sure
So
that you
during
saw
the
that.
show, it was sent over.
Yes, it was sent over.
Okay, so I don't have email up. Doing
No,
the,
we're
then
doing the
that's-
show.
doing the show.
I
Let's see.
thought
All right, here it
you
is.
knew, and
No.
that's
No.
yes.
No, I don't. But yes,
So
I can
we'll
do
hit
that.
that in the
I'm
break.
able to.
I appreciate that.
I'm more
Thank
than
you.
capable.
Paulus, that's fantastic.
Dropping the bomb on you. I'm sorry. That's on me. I should have pre-warned you. Sorry about that, Bo.
Bo, you have a child out of wedlock. You're up. Oh,
Boom.
okay.
All right. Thanks.
Congratulations.
All right then. Let's attack that. Probably equally as shocking, maybe not quite that, but close. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. There's been a lot. Before we get to the Odell stuff, we teased the Belichick Mac Jones thing. I wanted to start there.
Okay.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and then this was news last week with Bob Kraft, and now the news coming out. Pro Football Talk. I'm not sure where it originated from, but Pro Football Talk aggregated it. That Bill Belichick was reportedly shopping Mac Jones, and that there's tension between Belichick and Mac Jones. So there's a ton of layers to this. Most interesting to me is that Mac Jones would have beef. He seems so young to have beef.
He just
with
seems like a
Belichick,
likable guy.
and he does not seem
No.
that likable. Remember he did like the Vincent Kennedy McMahon walk to the stage here. That happened here. That long walk when he was drafted by the Patriots. It's so and apparently they're shopping him. According to this, not much interest
None.
in Mac Jones on the market. Yeah.
Why would there be?
I don't know. And it's an interesting spot because we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Let's do a little real truth. Bill Belichick will break the NFL all-time wins record in New England. He's about 40 away.
Feels
like to say
unlikely
fiction.
to me.
I agree.
It feels unlikely.
But will he break it?
Yes.
I agree. I think it's coming to the end here. He goes to a team that's ready. Because what's undone him here is Bill Belichick, the general manager, not the coach.
Yes.
So he goes to a place that's ready-made, that's trying to get over the hump, an organization starving for success, that feels like it's got everything. He comes in.
You could see him if Miami stays like ready-made. Although I bet
But
he'd probably
I think he would go.
NFC.
I don't even know if he would care about the association with the Patriots, honestly. You wonder about nostalgia with him. Like, would he ever want to go back to the Giants? I mean, that's where he cut his teeth as a coordinator. But I think you'd want to go to like a ready-made situation. I think he's lived life without a quarterback.
The Giants, though, are not a ready-made
They're not
situation.
ready-made. No. You'd have to go to a place where you have the quarterback in place.
Yeah.
He's not going to go screw around trying to do what he's been doing since Brady left.
Correct.
He's lived life with and without Tom Brady. It's significantly better with him.
Yep.
So he's not doing that. So is that like Chargers with Herbert?
That would be one.
That
Dallas.
type of setup? Dallas. Jarrah has
Jarrah.
done it before. He did it with
I
Parcells.
can't see him and
He
Bill
did it with
playing nice,
Parcells.
because Bill wants complete control, and Jerry can't help himself.
No, but he did
He
play
with
nice
Parcells,
with
yeah, he
Parcells
did.
for a little bit to legitimize.
Yeah.
Remember, they were like they went from like Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer. Like he pulled him off the recruiting trail at Oklahoma. He wasn't the coach at Oklahoma at that time. He was literally just glad-handing people in Norman and got him to coach the Cowboys. Remember, it was like Dave Campo and those guys, and then somehow he got Parcells. So he's done it before with that. I don't know. There's a lot going on up there, though, to say the least, in that situation. And when Kraft, those comments from Kraft that we were talking about yesterday, where he said, we got to win, we got to be a playoff team. You're the fourth team in the AFC East, buddy.
By a wide margin.
And by distance.
And that's with not even knowing who's quarterbacking the third team currently in that division.
Correct. Yes. And yet, I mean, we lived it. He came in here with Bailey Zappi and whipped us.
Yes.
So he can still coach it.
Yes.
At a very, very high level. He can't draft it. And so that's part of it. So there's a lot to pay attention to with that situation in New England. Mac Jones with no value. Dude, it's tough, man.
Dude, look at our quarterback prior to this, Baker, was the first overall pick.
Yep.
Led the team to the playoffs.
Yep.
And
set at the time the rookie record for passing touchdowns.
Did not have value.
No.
Mac Jones, no value, because Mac Jones, number one, is clearly not good enough to ever be the guy. Two, he's probably too good to be awful. And three, it seems like he's slightly discourteous and rather
petulant.
Yeah, not fun.
Yeah. Speaking of Florio, this is there were rumors that the Ravens offered Odell a deal.
Correct.
And the Jets seem to be the other team that's really in on him, and then maybe the Rams as well. Florio was on Pro Football Talk and asking about what OBJ was asking for. Here's Florio.
No one has signed him, Chris, because he continues to want more than anyone will offer. I was told $20 million is what he's seeking, or at least his agents were seeking. Now it's softened. Rich Cimini of ESPN.com over the weekend says the thought is he now wants $15 million on a one-year deal. Still too rich for the teams out there that are interested, and I think they just keep waiting and waiting for those expectations to drop.
Can I interest you in 5 or 6?
All right. So on an average per year basis, here's what you got. Tyreek Hill, 30. Devontae Adams, 28. DeAndre Hopkins, 27. Cooper Kupp, 26. A.J. Brown, 25. Diggs, 24. DK Metcalf, 24. Debo, 24. McLaurin, 24. DJ Moore, 20. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Amari, Chris Godwin, all 20. Deontay Johnson, 18. Christian Kirk, 18. Tyler Lockett, 17. Mike Evans, 16. I mean, man, Hunter Renfro's getting 15.5 per year. Allen Robinson, 15.5. Cortland Sutton, 15. So, and then there's nobody between 12 and 15 in the whole league. He, in my mind, it feels like he's looking at, gosh, the Commanders give him Curtis Samuel's at 11, Michael Gallup's 11, Alan Lazard's 11, Jacoby Myers is 11, Tyler Boyd's 11.
That's, to me, the realm. So I was low saying 8, but it's probably around 10.
10. Like
He's
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's what Marquez Valdez-Scantling got. 3 years, 10.
Catastrophic
30.
injuries, though.
Right.
Like, geez. 2016 is a long time ago, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, come on. How about you be realistic? Because
you cannot.
You worked out for a bunch of people and caught the ball one-handed 20 times.
1-year deals
What
are
can you do
quote
with
unquote.
pads on?
Those are prove it deals. And so you sign a 1-year deal. It's a little bit lower because you say, I'm going to show them and then I'm going to catch it. Trying to get a 1-year deal at a premium value.
Yeah.
You know, at $15 million in that range, it's basically saying he's a top 20 receiver in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he's not. He
could be, but it's certainly far
odds
from.
are against it. The
Yes.
production hasn't been that way in a very long time. A top 20 receiver in the NFL. You would feel like, to me, like, go to Kansas City and play in that offense and play with Mahomes for a year and see how that goes with them. Stay healthy, play for less, and try to prove it. That, to me, makes the most sense in that situation. Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter, who's had a very, very interesting offseason, to say the least, refusing to meet with any teams outside of the top 10. Gibby wants to know, good move or bad move? Could we see more prospects in the future doing the same?
It has definitely gotten a little traction here recently.
Yeah, Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. He advised him to do that.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think the message they're sending is whatever happened with this, this was all at the day one of the combine, that he's going top 10.
Well, and they were worried about his the workout. You know, he wasn't in great shape to work out, but yeah, he's going. Listen, you don't need to meet with a team to get drafted by him. If he falls out of the top 10, somebody's still going to draft him. So
yeah,
why?
Doesn't really need to.
No.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, we continue our look around the NFL. We will head out to the Valley of the Sun. The Arizona Cardinals, Howard Balzer will join us on that. Very interesting last year for them. That is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. We continue our look around the NFL, and we are out west in the Valley of the Sun, a place that is gorgeous and near and dear to your heart. You were buried out there, the great city,
yes.
So there you go.
Love it.
We are joined by the great Howard Balzer joining us, covers the Cardinals, NFL reporter for PHNX on the Twisted Tea hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of the Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. Boy, Howard, what a difference a year makes for the Cardinals to think about where you were coming out of that season a year ago and where you are now. How can you put that into perspective for us and Browns fans?
Wow, I'll tell you, it's difficult because I've never seen, and granted, I'm not, while I cover the league, certainly overall, I'm not on a daily basis watching everything that happens with every team in the league. But certainly I've never been involved with anything, and I would be hard-pressed to find a team that had as much happen off the field, on the field, injuries, whatever you want to list, that had as much to happen in one calendar year as the Cardinals did last season. And the part about it, guys, is that many of the things that happened created other things, for example. And I'll just give you one as we're approaching the draft, is the Cardinals didn't know if Rodney Hudson was going to come back and play, and he was talking about retiring, and the Cardinals had the 23rd pick in the first round, and all indications were that they were thinking of drafting Tyler Linderbaum, who ended up going to Baltimore and starting every game. Well, then the Cardinals find out, I'm not exactly sure when this was, but it was shortly before the draft, they find out that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be suspended for the first 6 games of the season. And now they're looking at, oh, my goodness, what's that receiver core going to look like? And so what they end up doing is on draft day trading that number 1 pick to the Ravens for Marquise Hollywood Brown. And so that kept them – they were going to draft Linderbaum, and they didn't. And so then here they are in that situation, and then Hudson comes back, decides to play, and then gets – is bothered with a chronic knee injury, plays 4 games, and is gone for the rest of the season, and now is probably done with football. And if you really look back, guys, at this team's record the last 2 years, when Rodney Hudson played and when he didn't, it's glaring. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable they were very, very good with him and pretty darn bad without him. In fact, last year they were 2-2 in the 4 games he played, and then 2-11 in the others. So that's just one example of the things that happened. Injuries mounted. It was just one thing after another, and ended up in a bad record. The owner, Michael Bidwell, decided to make total changes in the organization, even though the team had shown pretty good progress for the first 4 years of Cliff Kingsbury, and the first 3 years, and then the bad year, and now they're starting over. And boy, it's been so. Like I said, it's hard to put it in perspective because with all the different things. I wrote one story during the season, calling it a soap opera, and it really was, because you wondered every day what was going to happen to this team, and most of the time something did.
Yeah, and it felt like at least a couple of years ago that Kyler and Cliff would be joined at the hip. And you mentioned the soap opera, Kyler's contract, the detail in it that he needed to watch his film, and which the fact that it was in there to me means that the contract probably never should have been offered in the first place. Then they get the peer pressure, they get it taken out. What do you make of that whole situation and the fact that Kyler now is coming off injury? He's still here. Cliff is gone, and I can tell you just as anecdotally, because I was just recently in Scottsdale area, none of the Uber drivers believe in Kyler Murray. I can tell you that much. Not at all. So what's what's the pulse on that? And again, I go back to the fact that was in that contract. That to me seemed like things were going straight towards disarray.
Yeah, no question about it. And the other part I'll just inject is that what was overlooked in the contract and not talked about a lot because of the whole controversy over the independent study clause was the fact that the Cardinals put $9 million in the 6 years of the new contract, which covers 2 years he was already under contract. But in the 6 years of the new deal, they had $9 million of incentive clauses for showing up at the off-season program. So what does that tell you?
Yeah,
they had to incentivize the quarterback and the face of the franchise. Now, a lot of guys have off-season bonuses, but they're not an average of $1.5 million a year. So they had to incentivize that. That spoke to a lot of the things you're just saying. And then he goes out and tears his ACL. In terms of the pulse, I think in the Valley it's split. There's some who just, follow him think he's the greatest no matter what, and others really have a lot of questions. And I put myself in the middle of it in terms of the questions because I've seen what he can do when he's healthy, and they have the talent around him. But the reality is, in 4 seasons, he's had 8 different injuries, and 5 of them to his legs. And the 2 years prior to this past one were compromised down the stretch by a bunch of other injuries, but the fact that he was playing injured. And that affected the way he played, and the team didn't play well. I shouldn't say everyone, but there was that whole narrative put out there, well, it's Cliff Kingsbury. He's always had bad finishes in his, in his coaching career. Well, yeah, in college, they at Texas Tech, they have a good record at the halfway point after playing all the patsies on the schedule.
Sure.
And then when you start getting into conference play, you're playing Texas and Oklahoma State, and Baylor, and whoever, you're losing to those teams because they're better than you. That was the narrative that's put out there, which I thought was, a lazy narrative, I like to call it. But a lot of it was the injuries and the fact that Kyler Murray was playing injured. So it's very difficult to get a true handle on what this new regime thinks about him. Obviously, they say all the right things. What a great skill set. Jonathan Gannon, the new head coach, talking about, well, we played them last year, and I know how tough it was to prepare for him, which is true. There's no question that, it can make defensive coordinators stay up late at night figuring out, hey, how are we going to deal with this? But again, that's when he's healthy. And I don't believe that type of quarterbacking is sustainable. We've heard already in Chicago, the coaching staff talking about Justin Fields has to cut down in his running. We heard Sean McDermott talk about it with Josh Allen, and Allen's a big guy as opposed to Kyler Murray, who's 5'10". And so there's a lot of questions, but they're linked to this contract now, which I don't know. It's hard to figure how they could, even if they wanted to, get out of it, in the next year or two, if they wanted to. So there's a real issue there. And if they trade DeAndre Hopkins, which is what everybody believes is going to happen, then, and they really have to upgrade the offensive line, then even when he's available to play, you're taking a risk putting him out there and seeing if there's more injuries. So there's a lot of questions surrounding this team and this organization as they move forward into this 2023 season.
And the dangest thing about this, like as you go through all of that, you say, boy, from 30,000 feet, what are the Arizona Cardinals? Yeah. Are they? I mean, they're picking third in the draft. In a way, they control it because quarterbacks are going 1-2. So if they want to trade back, and if somebody wants to come up and get a quarterback at 3, they have a lot of power there, and maybe that's a way to accumulate some more assets. They've got a quarterback that, based on what you're saying and based on what we kind of feel like, coming off a big-time injury, by the way, you don't know what power or say or belief there is with him in the organization. In the meantime, you have some of these veterans like Hopkins who are still hanging out there. What is the best course of action for them as a franchise?
Yeah, that's a great question. And some think it's moving on from Kyler Murray, but then who is the quarterback? And then that raises all kinds of other questions. So it sure seems and appears that come hell or high water, at least when he comes back from injury and then build this thing, get as many. I think if they're going to try to get as many draft choices as they can. I've characterized their free agency, which they've signed 19 players. Some are guys they've re-signed, and they've signed 19 guys in the 3 weeks so far of the league year. And Zach Allen, who was a really good defensive lineman on this team, went to Denver, and he himself got more guaranteed money and a bigger signing bonus than the total of the 19 players the Cardinals signed. So they're just signing a bunch of guys that will come in and compete for spots at different places and play special teams and whatever. But they certainly haven't signed any difference makers for this team. I'm sure what they're hoping for is they'll get them in the draft. And so the jury is out. But it looks like their plan is to build the best team they can around Kyler Murray, protect him, and then be able to bring out in him the best that he has. But The question is if they're savvy enough to do that. You guys know they hired Drew Petzing as the offensive coordinator, and their coaching staff, boy, it's as green as grass. Yep. I mean, in terms of NFL experience, they've got 10 guys on the coaching staff beyond the coordinators that have 1 or no years of NFL coaching experience, and so they're just entering this, doing it in a lot of new ways. But like I said, it's going to come down to this, I don't know if they're going to draft. The one thing that people forget, guys, is when a new general manager comes in, he did bring in a guy from Detroit, Dave Sears, as assistant general manager. That new general manager is Monty Ossenfort from Tennessee. But you're pretty much hamstrung for your first draft to use whoever's been there before, because you just can't make wholesale changes when you come to a team in January or February with the draft a little bit away, and all this work has been done by the scouts and the personnel people that are there. And so he's got to obviously count on his own evaluations, but along with what the scouts have already done. So it's very difficult to really look at this and see what they're going to do different, aside from trying to get as many picks as possible to come in and compete for jobs.
Do you think they pick at 3?
I would doubt it at this point.
I think you get the best,
like you said, so much
non-quarterback.
Yeah,
they'll have the first.
Yeah, well, they could. That's so they have to decide: is Will Anderson, for example, who could be a generational talent as a pass rusher? Is it worth it to take him and what he is expected to be, as opposed to getting the best draft package you can to trade down and get more picks in this draft, maybe get more picks in next year's draft, and then, of course, select whatever it is that's still there? Because the thing is, and I'm sure the one way they're looking at it, this is a pretty deep draft in edge rushers, which they definitely need. It's pretty solid in corners, which they definitely need. And so the more picks, the better. So I would think they'll trade down. The key, obviously, will be getting that deal that they think is worthy of doing. One of the reasons Hopkins hasn't been traded is because they're asking for too much. And I think they've overshot the market for a guy who's going to be 31 in June, has had injuries the last 2 years, and has over $34 million on his contract remaining for 2 seasons. And so to get a second-round pick for him, I think, was fantasy land. So I don't know how long they're going to hold out before they do something, but it makes me question, do they really have the market and the way to do things with trades and all that? These are guys who have never done that before. They've seen others do it, but they haven't done it themselves. And so I think that's going to be very instructive to see what happens with that third pick, and if they're truly able to get real tremendous value for that third overall choice. And that's, of course, assuming that someone just wants, if we assume that Stroud and Bryce Young will go 1-2, that's assuming that someone else has really fallen in love with Anthony Richardson. Sure. I was asked a question today on a website that does some questions, and they said, of these 4 quarterbacks, who would you pick first overall? And I answered none of the above, because I wouldn't take any of these guys first overall. But this has fallen in love with a quarterback season in the NFL, and we know that a lot of times mistakes are made.
Yeah, they are. Howard, this was great. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate you.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime. Take care.
All right, that's Howard Balzer, NFL reporter covering the Cardinals at phnx.com. Read his stuff, phnx.com, at hbalzer721 on Twitter. You can get that information there. The Kyler Murray thing is a
They're all gone, and now they're talking about trying to get rid. Like, who's their offense? Who is on their offense?
It's not the same because he doesn't have the yips, but there's feels like a Ben Simmons-y quality to this, from the standpoint of, like, wow, this was the centerpiece. Like, Simmons was an all-star. Ben Simmons was an all-star in Philly and was great. And I'm not saying it's the same because he had the yips. He can't shoot. His is mental. Yeah. But Kyler's might be a little mental too, in terms of just not wanting to be a pro at all. And
it's got to be your lifestyle.
Having a very little interest in being a professional quarterback and what's required, clearly based on the incentives for him to be at the offseason, based on the incentives for him to, actually watch film as opposed to play Call of Duty. Like, those things are real. He's coming off of a catastrophic injury now. I had forgotten that he'd missed all of that time that he's missed in 4 years. What do you do with him?
I don't know.
And you paid him.
I don't know. And now he really doesn't. If you trade Hopkins, there really isn't a supporting cast.
There's none. So,
like,
what's the point?
Else? Like Rondale Moore, who
hasn't done much. No. But I don't know what the market is for Kyler either, because he hasn't.
I think somebody could be talked into Kyler.
It's a lot of money, though.
And he's just it's the personality of it is tough. I mean, clearly he does not embrace the notion that he's got to be, it's his lifestyle to become a great quarterback. And this is, by the way, listen to their offseason.
It's so strange.
Key signings: Kaiser White, who played with the Eagles; Yelda Froholt with us; Kevin Strong, Zach Pascal, Dennis Daly. I mean, nothing. They lost J.J. Watt, Byron Murphy, Zach Allen, who had a great year for them, Marcus Golden, Chosen Anderson is Robbie Anderson, Rodney Hudson, who we heard they don't win without. I mean, they're not.
And Hopkins will eventually be gone too.
Yeah, I mean, that roster got significantly worse.
It feels like they're in a position to tank, is what it seems like.
Right.
So would it be something where you have Kyler sit the entire year and just take a red shirt to get healthy?
Do you send him to Miami? Would they want him? I don't know.
Boy, what's the more distracting city, Miami or Phoenix?
Miami. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing video games anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. By the way, I put together some categories for us to do on these things.
Oh, I like it.
Do you think that'd be fun?
I'd love to.
You want to do
Let's do that coming up next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. We'll do that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. There's a new way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns and help your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. We were talking about the Arizona Cardinals. You have some categories, sir, for us to go over?
Yeah, I got some stuff for you.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah,
Here
ready.
we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Do we need
Category
traveling
time,
music?
Category
Do we need
time,
traveling music?
Category time.
I like it. That's the open.
There it is. Okay.
I like it. All right, go ahead.
Uniforms. Keep or change?
Change.
Change.
In fact,
Thoughts?
change dramatically.
Yeah.
Change dramatically. So smooth. Change dramatically. I would get rid of all of it. I think they're best.
Full start over.
I would start over.
They're all black's pretty nice.
You love
You
an
knew
all
I'd say
black.
that.
You're any. I know how
Because you
much you
can't
love
have a
it.
red helmet because the bird's got to be red.
Here's the deal. Maybe get rid of the damn bird off the thing
Make them
and start over.
something with the Valley of the Sun.
Or even you can still be the Arizona Cardinals, and you can still have that be a part of it. But we've seen the Utah Jazz do a gradient with the sky out there a couple of years ago. The Phoenix Suns have the Valley uniforms, which are really popular. Like, there's so many cool colors and stuff that you could do out there. You can still keep the name, you can keep all of that, but I do think that you can get that bird off the helmet, and then you're not locked into that there. I mean, that is a St. Louis Cardinal uniform.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for a long time. Like, I would dramatically change it.
Yeah, I'd go to something like, it could be the Arizona Javelinas. They could be the Suarus.
Oh, my gosh.
There's so much stuff.
There's so much out there that you could play off of.
Well, Javelina just running around trying to enjoy itself.
Nobody, by the way,
off,
which is basically a combination of what, like a porcupine and a pig?
That's right.
So, like, there's none of that in professional sports. We wanted that with the Red Hogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I guess if you, whatever, but I think you can go drastic. I don't think there's anybody out there going like, oh, I love the hat, love the uniform. It's great.
No, agreed. They need to update
They need to start over.
Only variation I currently like is the all black. That's it. All right. Player you'd want from their team right now.
I like this one. I mean, we had such a love affair with Isaiah Simmons. I don't even know if he's been good or if it's been a struggle.
If solid, fine, but not the answer. Buda Baker is the answer.
Buda Baker's the answer.
Pro bowler, safety.
If I had known you were coming there, I don't know their roster enough.
You don't know this is the first time you've heard the categories.
Yeah, that's true. I'm hearing them for the first time.
But now we're gonna write. Or we're gonna document.
Do I need any more?
We need a
depth charts?
Stevie to write down these categories.
Stevie. Stevie's gone.
He's not moving. He's not writing anything down.
Where is Stevie now? Now Stevie was in South Dakota, North Dakota, and he was matriculating around the world. I don't know where he is.
He had a big job interview in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Oh, Stevie.
The great
but
Stevie.
I don't know what came of that.
All right.
He's thriving. He was playing basketball on riding a donkey.
I've done that.
Yeah, it sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I like the Buda Baker.
Yeah,
that's
Pro Bowler.
That's definitely
That's
the one.
Okay.
Oh gosh, he's all of it. He's all of what you'd need.
Yes.
And honestly, yeah, the rest were kind of good.
We could play some big nickel. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Hollywood Brown I wouldn't mind Hollywood Brown on our
Oh,
squad,
yeah.
But I think the number one guy there's Buda Baker. All right, so are they a playoff contender or pretender? Pretender. Stop.
Pretender, biggest. They're starting over.
Stop it.
I don't even know if they are. I don't know what they are. That's why I asked that question to Howard. What are you doing? Are you? It feels like a restart. But yet you have a quarterback you're paying $170 million.
Right.
I mean, has there been another situation like this where somebody had a quarterback that they identified as a franchise quarterback, compensated as a franchise quarterback, and yet every other roster decision they made was one saying we're rebuilding?
Yep.
I can't think of one.
No. All right. All-time favorite Arizona Cardinal.
I mean, Larry Fitz is pretty good. I was a big Anquan Bolden guy.
I was an Anquan Bolden guy. I'd go Anquan Bolden.
Bolden was, that was, a little Xbox with Anquan back in the day. NCAA college football, like 02.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had a Bolden Cardinals jersey. The only Cardinals jersey I've ever had. I've had a Bolden, and I've had a Pat Tillman.
Tillman's great. I think they are also. He has that era where they have the
flag,
which looks good. I don't know is there something you could play into that?
Sure.
But that looks good on the sleeve of that one. I think the all white. You went all black. I like their all white.
All white's fine.
Looks pretty.
But
crispy.
you can't get rid of that
piping. Is awful.
Exactly.
Just go all.
And you can't have your shoulders be difficult. No, like
the whole thing's a disaster. Yeah. They're the only team.
They can go back to that era. Neil Lomax and
yeah. Is that a beloved era?
No, that's a problem.
They don't have any beloved eras.
But just clean it up. Clean it up. I think you could be good there. All right. So we got our all-time stadium, elite or garbage?
Closer to elite than garbage.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Really
so.
nice.
Yeah.
I've seen some great stuff in there, national championship games.
Sure.
The only thing that's tricky about it is the location, right? I mean, location's pretty.
Didn't they screw up the field at the Super Bowl?
They did. Yeah. They decided like a month. Wasn't it a month before the Super Bowl? They said, "Oh, we're going to try new grass."
And then we're going to paint it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Which became an ice rink.
Right. They
Dumb.
planted it too early.
Dumb.
You like it, though. I just think the Glendale location's tough. Like, you don't
sure.
want to be there. It's 45 minutes from where you want to be.
No, but it's a good game experience, good stadium.
Yeah.
all that.
The stadium itself is
Fine.
a. If I'm going to grade it,
Yeah.
the whole experience, I'd go B.
Yeah.
I think the stadium's an A- on its own.
All right. Road trip, yes or no? Absolute hard yes.
It is a Mount Rushmore NFL road trip,
No doubt.
especially if it comes in November.
No doubt. All right. Must-do thing on said road trip.
You have a. So the last time I was there was with the family, and we did through 3 nights there. We were at the Princess. We did 3 nights there. I mean, just if you're thinking about this for like a spring break thing for the kids, the weather was spectacular, of course, as it was. But they have got like 4 pools, water slides,
the whole
everything
deal.
you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. There's the golf course is right there if you want to do that. So yeah, but this is your wheelhouse. You were married there.
Yeah.
This is your place.
I was going to say, if a must-do thing that's kind of unique is if you're able-bodied, hike Camelback.
Yes.
The view from up there is stunning. You have a sense of accomplishment because you're kind of bouldering. You really are.
It's way the hell up there, man.
And it
isn't like an easy.
No,
it's work.
No, it's work. And then after that, go crush some tacos at Barrio
Queen.
Yeah,
the JW's there is amazing. The JW Marriott there is amazing.
That's right across from
Camelback.
Shadows.
Yeah,
the Biltmore is amazing.
The Biltmore's great. Yeah,
great pools. Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. All right, final one. So the Cardinals, they pick 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Who is their top target at pick 3?
it's got to be Will Anderson.
Will
right?
Anderson, right? And then if you're the GM, do you trade or do you stay?
I get out, don't you? Depending on what the get back is.
What am I doing though?
Well, I don't know. That's what I don't know what I'm doing. I would
It's
think
like
that
in
you'd want to-
Zoolander when he's like, "Who am I?"
They need to acquire a ton of talent.
Well, right.
So like,
But if you have a chance that if this guy is that good, getting a pass rusher of his ilk feels like a pretty good idea. You're getting the number 1 non-quarterback in the draft.
I've seen people do like the comparison like Von Miller. Like
Okay.
if he's 90% of that, then that's a home run. Then you
Yeah.
do that and you forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it would depend on if somebody falls in love with Anthony Richardson. If somebody's like if let's say Seattle's like, we cannot. Who's picking 4?
Colts?
So let's say that the Colts are going to take Richardson at 4, and Pete Carroll's like, I cannot allow. I want Anthony Richardson. He's the future of this franchise. I want to go draft this guy. I'll give you 5, and what's their other one? They pick somewhere in the teens.
I'm looking right here.
Like if you get 2 1s to move back to 5, I do that in a second because they need a lot of guys. So I guess it just depends on what the give back could be.
Seattle's got 5 and it's not in the top 6. 5 and 20.
5 and 20. Like I'd move back to 5 and 20 if they want to come up to 3.
Well, and then you're assuming it's going to go quarterback,
And you could still get your guy.
Sure, fine.
Or you could get Jalen Carter or whatever.
Sure, that I would do. All right, there it is. Those
Good
are
job out of you.
categories.
I like them. So
There we
we're
go.
writing all those down. We'll run them back.
I know. Do you write
As
those
we go
down,
down.
Bay?
I like to see that you contributed today. Congratulations.
Right off of a red eye, playing like a champion.
Getting it all done.
That's what I
APs.
said.
No
AP.
picks, baby.
Nope. I like that. No picks, baby.
No picks, baby.
I'm going to start doing that to the kids.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
No picks, baby.
All right, we'll do a little better or worse with AP coming up next. You'll see Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, time for a little better or worse. AP in studio. How you doing, AP? Hey, you were in here Thursday, weren't you?
Fantastic. Oh yeah,
You
I was
and
in here,
Gibbe?
full hour with Gibbe. First time.
How'd it go, dude?
First time co-hosting, and
We still
I
had a
think it was,
show.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty smooth. Gibbe, what do you think?
It was a pro.
Man, I think you sound like a nice young man.
I got to give credit to you guys. I got my reps in right here,
There
and
it is. Better or worse?
Smart out of
stepped
you.
into the
That was good.
co-host
That was-
seat.
see,
There's other people who have been in this.
The mentoring came from us.
Other people who've been in this vicinity who did not soak up that knowledge and hurt
they
them
were like
tremendously going forward.
They were an anti-sponge.
Yeah, it's a good job out of
They
you,
were like
AP.
Teflon.
I feel like they're not here anymore.
No.
No, you said it.
There you go.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
You're a good man and thorough.
Thank you.
The boys would like you to just fill in every Friday.
I was gonna say
Fine.
yeah, there you go.
Just until football season.
We'll
Just
see.
until football
We'll
season.
see.
Just till Fridays off till
I
September.
didn't mean to sound like you didn't want to work.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
football
Fridays
season.
off till September. Who gets hurt?
Yeah. I'd like that for all of us.
No pictures, please.
None. Leave the cameras at the door. A little higher or lower, gentlemen, presented by our great friends at the Ohio Lottery. Today, NFL free agency grades, compliments of the sporting news. Should the following grades that were given out be higher or lower? And we start off first with your Cleveland
I
Browns.
don't understand how grades get higher or lower. Is it a better grade or a worse grade? I don't even get it.
Yeah, you can get a higher grade.
Are
You can
Bs-
get a lower
are Bs
grade.
walking up a ladder and turning into A's as they walk up the ladder. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
You can get a higher grade. You can get a lower grade.
I could get a better grade than you.
And a worse grade.
No, that
I
I
was
could
going
not
to
do.
say, Boyzell, I
get a
definitely lean
better
that
grade than
direction with the slap
Full
B in
stop.
there.
The end.
The Cleveland Browns graded out as an A. Obviously, we're not going to go higher or lower here. We're going to take it. They come in 6th in the NFL. Poisel, thoughts from you on the grade and overall compared to everybody else?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think the one thing that stood out to me just looking at the rankings here was there's a lot of teams that got A's, and I don't know if there should be this many teams that got A's. Just doesn't
Pretty
just
generous
doesn't
on the
feel
grade.
right. But I mean, for the Browns, yeah, I'm cool with it. I still think the work isn't done. They need to find another starting D tackle and probably add some good depth players at edge and linebacker. There's still time to do that though, and no team's roster's filled out at this point in the offseason. I'd say what they did so far, yeah, an A's fine.
I like an A.
You know when you said you go, I don't get it, to Gibbe?
Yeah.
In my head, a scene from a movie popped in. It was like, I don't get it, and the opposite actor's going, I don't get it. What does it mean? I don't get it. He just kept saying, I don't get it. And I'm thinking like, what movie is that from? It was Big. Remember when Hanks is in there at the John Hurt, I think, is the guy who's
they're pitching a toy, right?
Pitching the toy, and it's the building, and he goes, I don't get it, and he just keeps raising his hand.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
What don't you get? And he goes, well, who wants to be a building?
Yeah.
If it was a bug, like kids want to play with a bug, I don't want to play with a building, and then everyone goes nuts about the bugs. So
Yeah, there it is.
that
See?
popped in.
There you go, Gibbe.
Next.
Appropriate, by the way. A.
Yeah.
Higher or lower?
The Bears were number 1 in free agency, according to the Sporting News, getting an A+ grade.
Because of that trade.
The Jets, number 2 with an A+ grade. Bishop, higher, lower, just right.
Lower. They do not have Aaron Rodgers.
We
don't know
continued
what
to
they
go through
got.
this
We
like
don't
they've
know
won.
what they're giving back to get him, if they get him. It's not done. Like, stop it. The
It's
same thing with
ridiculous.
like that happened with Lamar with Baltimore. Like, he's leaving Baltimore. Well, not yet.
Like
Hasn't
we're
happened yet.
3 weeks into Aaron
This
Rodgers
Rodgers
going
thing
on the
has been
show.
this way forever, and
And
it's
I-
like, come on, man.
It's taken on forever, and I feel like you would expect teams to start, or people to start getting a little more skeptical right now. And instead, it seems like more and more people are just saying it's a certainty, and it's not yet. It's not official. I agree.
And I also think they lost some stuff in that wide receiver room. Like,
Well,
us
they
getting
would
a
say that they
a
got Mecole Hardman and they got Alan Lazard.
It's just without Rodgers, it can't be an A+. And right now, they don't have him.
No. Like,
Well, how about it?
again, they got those guys, but I don't know if McCole Hardman's healthy. Is he ever healthy?
So
Is Alan Lazard going to be the man?
Hold on, I'm going to hijack for a second because Bo was tickled by that, and I got to
That
give
was
credit
great.
to where credit is due from the great Scotty Monaco. So, Scott, we're out in L.A., and I guess there had been, and this is like some obscure reference, back in the day when McMahon, Vincent Kennedy, was still the commentator.
Yeah.
Like when he still wearing the Blazers with the patches and whatnot.
Yep.
There was some interaction between Goldust and Razor Ramon.
Okay.
And Goldust, I guess, lays out this challenge that he wants to fight Razor Ramon. And for whatever reason, this stuck with Scotty, and we've been saying it all weekend, which is why I had to drop it right there. So Goldust lays out the challenge, and McMahon's the announcer in between them, and he looks at Razor and goes, Razor? Well, how about it? So we've been using a lot of how
very
about
good.
it. We also use this.
That's a different Rhodes, too. It's not Cody who is that
That's
one?
his brother. Yes.
His brother was
Dustin.
Goldust?
Yes.
Okay.
Dustin.
Yeah. They did Dusty wrong and Dustin wrong.
No doubt. And for a while, they did Cody pretty wrong.
Yeah.
You could make the case that he maybe should have won at Mania. So we had that, and then one of my other favorite. How familiar are you? Like, how deep are either of you, or even this guy, into Star Wars, like the original?
Yeah,
movie?
pretty good.
Yeah. New Hope.
Good, pretty good handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're sitting at the bar late night, and somebody makes a comment about something, and Scotty goes, "He doesn't like you." And so from the New Hope, if you remember when they're in the bar scene, that guy with the pig nose, I don't like you either. Yeah. So we were using that all weekend, just beating it in the ground. But apparently there's a T-shirt that's got that guy's face on it that says, I don't like you either. Gotta get it.
Gotta have that.
Gotta have it in the repertoire. That guy, unbelievable cameo. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't also point out that when you're at an event like a WrestleMania, it's possible to find doppelgangers for that guy, which previously I would have thought was impossible. We found 3 of them.
That were that guy.
I made Scotty get out of line, walk. I go, when you see it, you're going to see it. And then he almost fell on the floor.
That's fantastic.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either. I'm wanted for murder in 10 solar systems.
The
like, I'll be
Texans
quiet.
are number
You'll
3.
be dead.
The Lions are 4, Falcons 5, Browns 6. The Bengals are number 7. Zagura, they get an A too. Everybody gets an A. Higher, lower, just right.
It's like my high school English.
I like the Lions. Cam Sutton, I thought was a great get. Emmanuel Mosley,
Bengals.
Gardner Johnson. Well, I like the Lions better. Why do I want to talk about the Bengals?
You can. If you want to go through the ones I've given you, fine.
All right. I like the Lions. I like what they did as well. For the Bengals, an A feels generous to me. Because it's based on, right? Isn't that based just solely on Orlando Brown Jr.?
Entirely.
Yeah, they lost their whole defensive.
But they lost Jesse Bates, who's really good. Von Bell, who was great for them last year. P. Ryan played a big role for them. Hurst is their starting tight end, and Eli Apple was a starting corner. I mean, you lost 3 of your 4 starting secondary members, your starting tight end, and a big-time role player on the offense. And you kept Jermaine Pratt, lovely. But this is Jermaine Pratt and Orlando Brown. Are they greater than all of that loss? Maybe, but it feels to me it's more like a
push
neutral.
Yep.
So and as good as the Falcons
if we're that
offseason was, like, you don't have a quarterback. You could be really, really good if you actually went out and made a pitch for Lamar.
So the thing with the Bengals, I think the 2 things that get underplayed is they were very optimistic that they could bring back Von Bell and Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
It was part of their plans that they were going to bring them back. Now, they were very disciplined. They didn't want to pay that number, so they let them walk. But if you would have said before the offseason, like Bates didn't catch him by surprise, P. Ryan doesn't catch him, the Apple, fine. But Bell and Hurst, they thought they were going to have those 2 guys back. The fact that they both walked is surprising for them.
They're going to draft, and again, they're free agents.
They'll be fine.
They're going to draft Calling Me. S. We're
Amateur
doing a show.
Hour.
We're doing a show.
How about the Wolverines getting one of the top quarterbacks in the country? I'll hang up and listen.
That one didn't hurt as bad as the running back from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They were out on the quarterback from Bucks were out on the quarterback, but the running back from Cincinnati was a tough blow.
I mean, we're doing a show.
Come on, S.
He knows the schedule of the program.
He does.
Hey, real quick, 30 seconds from everybody. Which team had the worst free agency period? Rams, Ravens, Packers. Rams were 30th, Baltimore 31st, Packers 32nd. Poisal, go.
I'm going with the Ravens because they learned that their QB doesn't want to play for them anymore, and they signed a receiver who's been anything but dependable for most of his career in Nelson Aguilar, and that's all that they've done.
Segura.
Agreed. I think it's right. You don't know who's quarterback. It feels like there's a little bit of a crisis here.
I think Green Bay's the worst because they don't.
I was thinking Green Bay, but they got a backup plan right now with Aaron. Right, not a backup plan. The plan is Jordan Love.
That Lamar's not going to play for Baltimore again because I'm not.
You are not convinced You think that he will play for Baltimore?
I do.
Again. I don't think he's going to have a choice. He's either going to play for Baltimore or he's going to sit out. That feels like where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's right.
But that is not.
They've played it well, though, because they can say DeCosta's the bad cop. Harbaugh can say, it's me. I got your back. I always had
Sasha
your
Brown
back.
was out there playing good cop.
Yeah, like they're I think they're going to be fine with him, at least for the intermediate, which might be exactly what they wanted.
I don't think he wants to.
I'm sure his feelings are hurt significantly.
That's why sometimes you have an agent to handle those things.
We outlined the various things an agent would have prevented. Good job out of you.
Yeah.
So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Good to have you back, buddy.
Great to be back.
Ah!
Great to be back.
There you go.
With
there
you.
you go.
With
We're
you.
back. We're
See
back.
your smiling face.
Yeah.
See Gibbe.
70 degrees and sunny
I
until
know.
tomorrow when it's calamity.
Tomorrow's supposed to be insane.
Yeah.
I will tease you with this. I have not seen a weather model like this, maybe ever, for the city of Cleveland.
Not great, Gibbe.
So are you saying, sir, in the interest of safety, should we do the program from home?
No.
The next level is next.
Yeah. See you on down the road.
See you on down the road, kids. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850
I don't
ESPN
like
Cleveland.